Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Tesla's Giga Berlin just held its festival in celebration of getting close to an official opening. Elon Musk was also there, and we'll go over what he was discussing, along with what other Tesla fans have reported at the event. This was all very recently, just after the shareholder meeting, and there's still some points I'm researching from that, so I think I might do a few videos on these events consolidated, as there was a lot of information. The event feels like it's somewhat of a celebration in opening the factory. It looks like it's very close now and just waiting for the necessary permits. Tesla allowed their guests to tour the facilities and record and upload as much of the factory and event as they wished. This is very different from legacy autos. I remember when I went to the Ford F-150 factory in Dearborn, they were very strict about any cameras or photography and were not allowing anyone anywhere near as close to the machinery. Tesla don't seem to be so concerned about hiding their manufacturing techniques. Tesla even showed off all their robots in operation, well, in a demo mode, as Tesla are not officially allowed to start manufacturing yet. Maybe Tesla don't care if the competition do see. Perhaps it's the equivalent of showing a typewriter manufacturer a microchip. It's not going to help them particularly, and even if they ever did figure out the microchip, well, by that time, then Tesla would have already moved several iterations from there. Anyway, I'm sure you've already seen most of the highlights, so I didn't want to go over things you already know, but rather discuss what impact some of them may have on the company. But it sounds like Tesla will finally be in production in Berlin in November, hopefully, and delivering vehicles in December. Okay, we were hoping for possibly this month, but in the scheme of things, 1 month extra is not major. And in the meantime, Tesla have been making as many single-piece casts for the vehicles as they can with their Gigapress machines. Now, back about a year ago, Tesla had met the requirements for the S&P 500, and it was thought that as soon as the index funds had to start buying up Tesla shares, then the stock price would increase. So I bought a reasonable amount of options at that time in the hope that this event will occur and it will act as an asymmetric investment. When Giga Shanghai opened, the stock price jumped too. So I was thinking about some options for the events that at any time Texas and Berlin could open. I tried to grab some options back when the stock price dropped to $720 the other week, but missed out unfortunately. Either way, I expect the opening of these factories to give the stock price a bump. The issue with buying options now though is that they're at a premium price due to the record earnings we're about to hear. FYI, the options we bought last year for the S&P, well, we hit a triple whammy. We ended up with the stock price split and battery day. However, it's Tesla. Buy the rumor, sell the news. The profit from these options was around $300,000 at one stage. But if I recall, when we sold, they dropped down to about $150,000. I guess I expected investors to understand battery day better, but perhaps should have known better myself. Anyway, just thought about trying to time something like that again, but missed the opportunity, I think. Too risky for me now, probably. Anyway, I think this officially ends everyone's hopes of the million deliveries for 2021 mark. If Tesla are only going to be delivering from the new factories in December, then it's probably not going to be more than around 10,000 vehicles. Berlin and Texas are not likely to give any major delivery boost for this year now, but China still sounds like it's going strong. So I still hope we hit 900,000 deliveries for the year, which is the number I have been estimating for several months now. And when Berlin does get going, Elon says he thinks that he can reach volume production by the end of next year. And in this scenario, we're given a definition of volume production. It's 5,000 units a week. Now, I think this may be the first time we've ever heard Elon Musk actually define volume production. This means we can then place said definition into other contexts that Elon has said in the past, namely along the lines of volume production being hard, really hard, painfully, excruciatingly hard. In other words, 20,000 vehicles a month is volume production. The closest we have seen from anyone else is around 10,000 a month, which is the BYD Han. They're only halfway to volume production. So everything that BYD had done up to now has basically been very easy relative to ramping up production, at least according to Elon. So to reach Tesla in making a volume production EV, well, perhaps BYD may only be about 20% of the way there. The next 80% is about ramping up production, a stage in Elon's life that still appears to haunt him to this day. You know, the guy who basically built up the entire company of Tesla and made the EV industry what it is today, with all the best EV engineering talent in the world and over a decade of experience in manufacturing EVs, with a CEO willing to sleep on the factory floor if that's what it takes. Oh, and Elon is orders of magnitude smarter than any other auto CEO. Not to mention, he actually knows how to grow and innovate a business, rather than maintain diplomacy with shareholders. Yes, these CEOs are politicians, not entrepreneurs. They were possibly the right people to hire initially, before, but now these companies need innovative leaders who know how to grow in a new industry, rather than hearing rhetoric of how they will lead the industry. Yes, this is actually the hardest part of making EVs, at least from what we've all referred from Elon. Not getting sufficient range or selling it at an affordable price, but ramping up to volume production. No one else can even achieve the former. Can we really expect them to achieve the latter? Oh, but Tesla were doing incredibly stupid things back then, like trying to pick up fluff with robots, and all sorts of other over-automated tasks with robots. They were just naive and ignorant, right? Well, bear in mind, they had successfully produced the Model S and the insanely difficult Model X in the past too. And okay, perhaps not to the volume of 20,000 a month, but collectively they were at 10,000, which seems hard enough for anyone else to beat, still to this day, even with billions of dollars and decades of manufacturing experience. Yes, this is what is happening. Oh, and that was just how hard it is to physically make that many electric cars. Yeah, there's another aspect of business. You have to inevitably do it at a profit. Well, that's near impossible for any EV company, but to do it as a legacy auto? Well, I'm not sure the world has ever witnessed such a miracle yet. Of course, we're still only talking about basic EVs, not advanced computers that drive themselves. Ford could just as arbitrarily try and make cell phones instead. Manufacturing EVs is not the same game as manufacturing ICE. Just like manufacturing cell phones is not the same game as manufacturing microwaves. Sure, they may both have LCD screens, just like EVs and ICE both have wheels. But after a while the similarities dwindle, and manufacturing EVs gets real. Anyway, the legacy auto companies are now well aware of this little chestnut, and surely realise their fate is inevitable. Sometimes I actually don't know what chance any competition really have against Tesla, which takes us to the possibility that one day Tesla could be close to a monopoly. Possibly Elon knows this, and this could just be one of the many reasons for his sandbagging. Oh, sandbagging, right. Should we use our sandbagging detector for some of these numbers? In case you didn't realise, we were just told the initial capacity of Giga Berlin. Elon does sound like he is limiting Tesla's auto sales potential to just 20 million cars a year. As Elon has said, he wants Tesla to replace 1% of the 2 billion global fleet a year. Personally, I don't think Tesla will cap themselves at 20 million vehicles a year. If they do though, then I would say that Tesla will still be supplying the platform for at least another 20 million vehicles. You know, assuming we aren't just all robotaxiing everywhere. For Giga Berlin, Elon did hope to reach 10,000 units a week run rate, which means we are looking at a capacity of 500,000 for the first production line, which is about what the run rate of Shanghai is currently. It took Shanghai Model Y just 8 months to reach 5,000 units a week, or volume production, which was actually exceeding alleged capacity. So I don't think it's wrong to assume that Berlin could ramp up significantly faster than Shanghai, by number of units, but also potentially percentage of capacity. The Berlin factory is presumably a more advanced design, which can produce cars more efficiently. Berlin is using both front and rear die casts, and potentially structural battery packs. Therefore, it is possible that Tesla will have reached the 500,000 capacity months before the end of 2022. Now, at a guess, we might expect something similar from Texas as well. FYI, if we're at a run rate of 10,000 units a month in January 2022 for each factory, and if it's ramped up linearly at 14% a year, then by December, we're at the 500,000 a year run rate. But the cumulative production for the year at that rate will be about 270,000 vehicles. However, ramping up usually does go faster at the start, so there's a chance each factory may be closer to 350,000 units, or collectively 700,000 units, and maybe a further 50,000 from Cybertruck for the year, of course all subject to enough batteries and components. Taking a rough estimate of next year's capacity from the new factories at around 750,000, I'm also thinking that next year the other two factories could do 1.2 million, although I'm waiting for the Chinese numbers from September before I do more research. But that takes 2022 production to 1.95 million units, which means 2 million for next year is still on the cards. But oh yes, the structural battery pack. We finally got to see what it looked like. I've got to say, I never thought I could really be so interested in a metal car shell. It looks incredibly tidy. I may not be a manufacturing expert, but I can tell how impressive this is anyway. It's clearly the future of auto, but I don't see how anyone else can compete or come close. The competition can't even get a gigapress anytime soon, as Tesla has so many on back order. Anyway, I think it looks amazing, and was happy to finally see one. There was also a whole lot more I wanted to go through, but I think we'll just leave it all there for now. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.